Brenda Marie Gerow, once known as Pima County Jane Doe, was an unidentified American murder victim whose remains were discovered on April 8, 1981. In late 2014, a facial reconstruction image was released, leading to her identification the following year. She had been interred beneath a headstone marked simply Jane Doe, alongside the inscription Yunki, 1981. The eldest among her siblings, Gerow, vanished in July 1980 after departing with her then-boyfriend, John Jack Kalhauser. Employed at a convenience store and as a bartender in a Draycott, Massachusetts establishment popular with bikers, she maintained contact with her family. At one point, she called home to express her intention to return, yet she never arrived. Despite her family's efforts to report her missing, local authorities were uncooperative, citing her status as an adult at the time of her disappearance. On that fateful day in April 1981, the body of a young white female was discovered in the desert near Houghton Road and Interstate 10 in Tucson, Pima County, Arizona. Hunters, drawn by a jacket hanging from a tree, searched the area and stumbled upon her lifeless form. The victim was estimated to be between 18 and 22 years old. An autopsy revealed she had died approximately 1.5 to 2 days before the discovery, with strangulation by ligature identified as the cause of death. In addition to the fatal strangulation, she had suffered severe physical abuse and sexual assault. When her body was found, it was in an advanced state of decomposition, obscuring her facial features and rendering her eye color indeterminate. The pathologist noted her light skin tone and long light brown to blonde hair, along with a distinctive white spot on one of her upper front teeth. At the time of her death, she stood approximately 5 feet 2 inches to 5 feet 3 inches tall and weighed between 100 and 180 pounds, 110 pounds. The scene bore witness to the possibility that additional evidence may have been swept away by the winds. The victim was adorned in denim jeans, white socks embellished with pink pom-poms, a white bra, blue underwear, and brown suede shoes, complemented by a distinctive blouse of deep blue featuring puffy reddish-colored sleeves, adorned with a floral motif. Nearby, a denim jacket was discovered draped among the brush. Law enforcement meticulously documented the crime scene, while aerial surveillance was conducted to capture further images and uncover any additional evidence. The decomposition of the body had not progressed to the extent that her fingerprints were irrevocably altered, allowing for their eventual collection. Dental records were secured, and years later her DNA was also obtained. In 2006, a DNA profile from an unidentified individual was extracted from her garments, paving the way for the creation of a potential suspect's profile following analysis in 2007. At the time of the victim's discovery, authorities in Tucson faced challenges in acquiring fingerprints. In a bid to secure this vital evidence, the victim's hands were detached and sent to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Although the Federal Bureau of Investigation successfully retrieved fingerprints, they did not match any missing persons or individuals with criminal records. The investigation drew comparisons to several missing persons cases, all of which were ultimately excluded. Investigators noted that the style of her attire hinted at possible participation in the local county fair that coincided with the time of her tragic demise. Images of the victim's clothing have been disseminated across various platforms, including the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children posters and numerous news outlets, in a concerted effort to establish her identity. Evidence suggested that the victim had traversed a wooded area before her death, as indicated by scratches on her body. A rudimentary sketch of the victim was produced shortly after her discovery and was circulated through television and newspapers. Yet, it failed to elicit recognition from the local populace. In 2012, a significant exhumation led to the digital reconstruction of the victim's visage, following a meticulous examination of her skull through a CT scan. This endeavor was graciously supported by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, aiming to approximate her facial features and appearance during her lifetime. Numerous theories have emerged regarding the victim's life and tragic end. Investigators speculated that she may have been a runaway in her youth, possibly estranged from her family, or that she had met her demise elsewhere before being discarded at the scene. There was also the possibility that she had hitchhiked to Tucson from a distant location. Early in the investigation, some posited that she could have fallen prey to the then unknown Golden State Killer, who had shifted his activities southward since the mid-1970s. In 1995, while compiling evidence against Cal Hauser for assault charges, authorities discovered a photograph of a young woman with light hair holding a bouquet in his possession. By late 2014, police announced their belief that this photograph was linked to the case of Pima County Jane Doe and promptly shared it with the public. The woman depicted bore a striking resemblance to the reconstructed image of the victim, aligning with her physical description. The photograph is thought to have been captured between 1979 and 1981, coinciding with the period when Jane Doe was discovered. Cal Hauser, however, declined to assist authorities in identifying the woman in the image. In late 2014, the previously unidentified woman's photograph was disseminated to the public after authorities established its connection to the reconstruction. Investigators noted that the backdrop of the photograph suggested a location in the eastern United States, particularly a former camping site in Tyngsboro, Massachusetts. On December 23, 2014, Bill Gerow Jr., the victim's brother, received a notification from law enforcement indicating that the woman in the photograph might be his sister. Gerow vanished from public view in 1980 at the tender age of 20, having departed the state voluntarily alongside her partner, Cal Hauser. Their fateful meeting reportedly occurred in a vibrant nightclub setting. The reasons behind her sudden departure remained shrouded in mystery, though her family harbored suspicions that she had simply run off. Her brother recounted a brief phone call from her 2 to 3 weeks later, during which she was residing in New Mexico. After that fleeting connection, she slipped into silence, despite her family's relentless search for her. Officially, Gerow could not be reported missing, as she was over 18 and had seemingly left of her own volition. Cal Hauser, with a troubling history linked to Arizona, is suspected of having murdered his wife, Diane Van Reeth, in 1995 while living under an alias. Although Van Reeth's remains have never been recovered, Cal Hauser was ultimately convicted of her murder in 1999. His criminal record also includes a conviction for the 1974 murder of Paul Chapman and an indictment for an attempted murder in 1979. Following the latter, he absconded after being released on bail. When he wed Diane Van Reeth in Nevada, he adopted a false identity to evade detection. Cal Hauser received a 20-year prison sentence in Arizona for second-degree murder, completing his term on May 8, 2019. On September 28, 2015, it was revealed that the remains of an unidentified victim had been confirmed as Gerow in April 2015, with plans for her body to be returned to her family. This identification was achieved through DNA comparisons between the victim and her family. Gerow's father, William Sr., expressed his bewilderment over any potential motive for his daughter's tragic demise. Cal Hauser has emerged as a person of interest in the murder investigation, prompting law enforcement to seek information from individuals who were acquainted with both Cal Hauser and Gerow during the late 1970s and early 1980s. Following the family's receipt of the remains, the body was subsequently cremated. In 2017, the cases of Gerow and Van Reeth were highlighted in the second episode of the series Who Killed Jane Doe on Investigation Discovery, where interviews were conducted with her brother and father. Zeb Wayne Quinn, born on May 12, 1981, mysteriously vanished on January 2, 2000 in Asheville, North Carolina. At the tender age of 18, he was employed at a local Walmart where he concluded his shift that evening. His vehicle was discovered several days later in a restaurant parking lot under peculiar circumstances. The headlights were left illuminated, a live puppy was found inside, and a curious drawing of lips accompanied by an exclamation point was hastily inscribed in pink lipstick on the rear window. On that fateful Sunday evening around 9 p.m., Zeb Quinn finished his duties in the electronics department. At the time, he was actively participating in an ROTC program and had plans to meet his co-worker, Robert Jason Owens, to explore the purchase of a new car in Leicester. The two men were captured on surveillance cameras at a nearby gas station around 9:15 p.m., where they were seen purchasing sodas. According to Owens, after departing the gas station, Quinn signaled him to pull over by flashing his headlights. He explained that he had received a message on his pager and needed to make a return call. Upon his return from a payphone, Owens noted that Quinn appeared frantic. Quinn abruptly canceled their plans and, in a moment of distress, sped off, inadvertently colliding with Owens's truck. Later that evening, Owens sought medical attention for fractured ribs and a head injury, which he attributed to a subsequent car accident. Notably, no official accident report was filed with the authorities. The following day, Quinn's mother, Denise Vlahakis, reported him missing. 2 days after his disappearance, a man claiming to be Quinn made a phone call to Walmart, informing a co-worker of his illness. However, the co-worker found the voice unfamiliar, casting doubt on the authenticity of the call. The phone call was traced to a Volvo manufacturing facility where Owens was employed. Upon inquiry, Owens confessed to placing the call, asserting that he was merely assisting a friend after Quinn had requested that he report sick on his behalf. During the investigation, authorities spoke with a woman named Misty Taylor, who had captured Quinn's romantic interest. In the weeks leading up to his mysterious disappearance, Quinn had formed a bond with her and confided in friends and family about receiving threats from her violent boyfriend, Wesley Smith, upon discovering their communication. Both Taylor and Smith have denied any connection to Quinn's vanishing. No links have been established between Owens, Taylor, or Smith. A thorough examination of the phone records revealed that the page Quinn received on the evening of January 2nd originated from the residence of his paternal aunt, Ina Ustich. Before his disappearance, Quinn had minimal interaction with Ustich, who denied making the call. She informed the police that she was dining at the home of her friend Tamra Taylor, Misty's mother, where both Misty and Smith were also present. Ustich later filed a police report indicating that her home had been broken into that evening. Although no items were stolen, she noted that several picture frames and other belongings had been disturbed. On January 6, 2000, Vlahakis received a call from a former classmate of Quinn's, who also worked alongside him at the Asheville hospital. This individual mentioned spotting Quinn's Mazda protege parked at a barbecue restaurant adjacent to the hospital. Authorities investigated the vehicle, which had been left with its headlights illuminated. A pair of lips and an exclamation mark had been drawn on the back windshield in lipstick, and a lively black Labrador mix puppy was discovered inside. Additionally, a plastic hotel keycard was found in the car, but investigators were unable to trace its origin. Several drink bottles and a jacket that did not belong to Quinn were also located within the vehicle. Forensic evidence was meticulously gathered from the vehicle, yet no fresh leads emerged. Quinn's mother harbors a belief that the car was strategically placed by someone aware of the proximity of Quinn, her grandmother, and her sister to their workplace, with the intention that one of them would stumble upon it. The puppy discovered at the scene was later embraced by one of the investigators. Subsequently, a couple reported to local authorities that they had witnessed Quinn's car being driven through downtown Asheville, aiding the police in creating a composite sketch of the driver. This sketch bore an uncanny resemblance to Misty Taylor. On March 17, 2015, a significant development occurred when Owens was apprehended in an unrelated case concerning the disappearance and murder of Food Network star contestant Christy Schoen, her husband J.T. Codd, and their unborn child. Owens later confessed to the tragic incident, claiming it was an accident when he ran over the family, and he also pleaded guilty to 2 counts of dismembering human remains. As part of a plea agreement negotiated with Buncombe County District Attorney Todd Williams, Owens was sentenced on April 27, 2017, to a prison term of 60 to 75 years without the possibility of parole. In June 2015, detectives delving into Quinn's case revealed they had discovered fabric, leather materials, and unidentified hard fragments beneath a layer of concrete on Owens's property, following a search warrant obtained on March 31, 2015. The warrant also indicated the presence of an unknown white powdery substance, along with metal and concrete fragments. Additionally, authorities uncovered numerous plastic bags containing what appeared to be pulverized lime or powdered mortar mix. Officials refrained from commenting on whether the fragments were human bones or if they believed they had located Quinn's remains, citing the ongoing nature of the investigation. In July 2022, it was revealed that Owens had informed investigators in 2018 that a relative was responsible for the murder of Quinn, having dismembered his body and incinerated the remains, with potential evidence located in the Bent Creek Experimental Forest. On July 10, 2017, a grand jury in Buncombe County issued an indictment against Owens, charging him with first-degree murder in connection with Quinn's death. The Asheville Police Department stated that this indictment was the culmination of years of diligent investigative efforts and unwavering commitment from their detectives, alongside collaborative support from the Quinn family and the Buncombe County District Attorney's Office. District Attorney Todd Williams noted that the trial had faced multiple delays due to personnel changes and the suspension of jury trials mandated by Chief Justice Sherry Beasley in response to COVID-19 concerns. Nevertheless, in July 2022, attorneys indicated a potential plea deal could be discussed on July 25th, although this date remained contingent upon the availability of Quinn's family members. In the early days of 1956, a trio of boys from Montana embarked on a seemingly ordinary hike, only to stumble upon a haunting scene that would forever linger in their memories. While wandering near the Sun River, they discovered the lifeless body of 18-year-old Lloyd Dwayne Bogle, a victim of a gunshot wound to the head. His remains lay near his vehicle, with his hands cruelly bound behind him using his belt, as reported by the Great Falls Tribune. The following day, the grim revelations continued when a county road worker unearthed the body of 16-year-old Patricia Kalitsky in a location north of Great Falls. Like Bogle, she had suffered a fatal gunshot wound to the head, but her tragic fate was compounded by the horror of sexual assault. For decades, the mystery of their murders remained unsolved, until, after 60 long years, investigators triumphantly announced the resolution of what is believed to be the oldest case cracked through DNA and forensic genealogy. Bogle, an airman from Texas, and Kalitsky, a promising junior at Great Falls High School, had shared a tender romance, contemplating a future together, as noted by the Tribune. The site of their tragic demise was known as a lover's lane, a detail highlighted in a local newspaper clipping featured on a memorial page. Their love story, however, was brutally interrupted by a killer whose identity would remain shrouded in mystery for over 6 decades. Despite the relentless efforts of investigators who pursued numerous leads in the early stages of the case, progress was elusive, and the investigation eventually grew cold. The Cascade County Sheriff's Office persevered, with various detectives dedicating their efforts to unraveling the enigma over the years. Among them was Detective Sergeant John Cadner, who took on the case in 2012, marking his first foray into cold cases. He faced the formidable challenge of digitizing the extensive case file, a task that consumed months of meticulous work. He diligently pursued the Kalitsky/Bogle case, even as a steady stream of new cases cluttered his desk. Yet he sensed that a deeper investigation was essential to uncover the truth behind the couple's mysterious fate from decades past. My initial thought was that the key to solving this lies in DNA analysis, Cadner remarked. Fortunately, he had a valuable lead. During the autopsy of Kalitsky in 1956, coroners had collected a vaginal swab, which had been meticulously preserved on a microscopic slide over the years, as reported by the Great Falls Tribune. In 2001, Phil Madison, a retired detective from the sheriff's office, sent this sample to a local laboratory for analysis, where the team discovered sperm that did not belong to Bogle, her boyfriend, according to the publication. Equipped with this crucial information, Cadner reached out to Bode Technology in 2019. Following the successful application of forensic genealogy in capturing the Golden State Killer the previous year, law enforcement began to recognize the immense potential of this technology in resolving cold cases, even those as old as Kalitsky and Bogle's. Collaborating with specialized labs, forensic genealogists can utilize preserved samples to construct a DNA profile of the perpetrator, subsequently searching public databases for possible matches. Often, these profiles connect to distant relatives of the suspect, perhaps a second or third cousin. By delving into public records, such as death certificates and newspaper articles, forensic genealogists can meticulously build a family tree that leads them directly to the suspect, even if that individual has never submitted their DNA to any public database. In this instance, our genealogists will independently construct a family tree based on this cousin's profile, Andrew Singer, an executive at Bode Technology, shared with NPR. He referred to it as a reverse family tree. Essentially, we are retracing our steps, beginning with a distant relative and endeavoring to connect back to our unidentified sample. The approach proved successful. DNA analysis led investigators to a man named Kenneth Gould. Before relocating to Missouri in 1967, Gould resided with his wife and children in the Great Falls area during the time of the murders, as reported by the Tribune. It was exhilarating because, for the first time in 65 years, we finally had a clear direction and a tangible lead for the investigation, Cadner shared with NPR. Up until that moment, it had all been mere speculation, but now we had a definitive match and a name. This transformed the entire trajectory of the case. However, a significant obstacle loomed. Gould had passed away in 2007, and his remains had been cremated, according to the Tribune. The only means to ascertain his guilt or innocence lay in testing the DNA of his surviving relatives. Detectives faced a delicate challenge, informing a deceased man's family that, despite never having been previously identified as a person of interest, he had now emerged as the primary suspect in a double homicide and rape. Authorities journeyed to Missouri, where they engaged with Gould's children, discussing the Kalitsky-Bogle case, and ultimately designating their father as a suspect, as Cadner recounted. They sought the family's assistance in either confirming or refuting Gould's culpability, and the family graciously complied. The test results confirmed that Gould was indeed the perpetrator. With the identity of the killer finally established, Cadner was able to reach out to the surviving relatives of the victims, providing the closure that had eluded them for over 6 decades. It was a bittersweet revelation. While they were thankful for the answers, many older family members found it challenging to confront the resurfacing of painful memories. They are thrilled, Yet it has also reopened many old wounds, Cadner noted. Now, the sheriff's office is contemplating the establishment of a cold case task force, following the lead of other law enforcement agencies. The aspiration is to extend their reach to more families, offering them the answers they rightfully seek, often after years of anticipation. With the advent of new technology, if we have the potential to resolve an issue, we are committed to pursuing it, as our ultimate goal is to serve the family, he remarked. We aim to provide them with a sense of closure. The Kalitske/Bogle case stands as one of the most historic criminal investigations resolved through forensic genealogy, and authorities remain optimistic about leveraging this continually evolving technology to address even older cold cases. Though recent state legislation imposing restrictions on forensic genealogy may pose challenges, Singer elaborated to NPR that, irrespective of these hurdles, the success of such endeavors is largely contingent upon the preservation of evidence over time. Nevertheless, he remains hopeful that this technology can assist law enforcement in enhancing public safety and preventing future victims. This technology is truly remarkable and has the potential to resolve numerous cold cases, Singer affirmed.